So with that, let me get set up in doing this problem solving with the ChatGPT. And I guess the main focus, lesson, maybe message of this is I do think generative AI is at a stage where it's good enough to be your tutor. I mean, it's not perfect. There are certain things it can't do, and I'll highlight those. But I think it can be used in a really effective way when you are stuck on a question. And even though I have homework help videos, sometimes, it's different seeing me work out a question correctly versus you trying to follow all those steps and still somehow making mistakes. Still somehow the homework system tells you are wrong. Then these videos can't respond to you. They can't change in response to what you have as your work. ChatGPT can, and that's the demonstration I want you to give. So let me go into test student mode so that I can work through this like student would. I sometimes joke test student is my worst student because he never does anything. He doesn't have to. But he's the kind of student who I will have to give A to, but don't like doing it because he does know physics, being my alter ego. So let me advance to problem set 1, and I'll work through the problem set kind of role playing as a student, someone who's working through the problem set in good faith and is maybe struggling with this part and that. Now, if, again, you don't have to use ChatGPT, you don't have to use generative AI. The tool that I spent a lot of time thinking that it would be helpful for your, as you work through homework, and I still think it is helpful in some way, is the homework help video. And the way you should use this homework help video, I don't really recommend watching it before you attempt the homework question. You should really be looking for specific videos that help you with the exact question you are working on after, trying it for 5-10 minutes and then getting stuck on it. Now, to find the specific video, the instruction for that is here. So the screen that I had before with the chapter and the reference, you won't have access to it with the student view. I have access to it as the instructor. But what you can do is you can select a portion of the question text and use that to search. So I think, did I do it here? Yeah. So I think I look for, select a portion of the text, search for it in the textbook, and I can find the exact problem number that way. And once you find the problem number that way, then you can find it among the homework help videos. So there's a whole not as long as I thought, 5 minutes of video. You can watch that if you need more step-by-step instructions. So that's the main resource that I've put a lot of time into building. Now, for those of you who maybe have tried that and you still get stuck on the homework questions and you're frustrated, that's what the remaining 40 minutes of this session is for. Kind of demonstration of using ChatGPT as like a virtual tutor. So like any tutor, it'll be wrong from time to time. And almost unlike a human tutor, it's limited in certain weird specific ways. I'll demonstrate some of those, and as the software updates, I want to kind of keep ahead of what it can do, what it can't do. That's one of the reasons I like doing this session. I think this is my 3rd semester doing it. So far it's been enjoyable, and when it stops being enjoyable, I'll stop doing it. So I'm just going to do this side by side. I have paid for ChatGPT account that I pay $20 a month for. I don't have the pro subscription, but with this paid for account, I'm going to be using ChatGPT 01 version. Just because it's the most recent version. I've done it with the GPT-4o last semester. So if you want to see how ChatGPT might be answering questions with that more commonly available version, you have the whole playlist of videos you can watch. So I'll be using 01. And when you are using ChatGPT, you have to be careful in this sense. if you don't give it specific instructions, it'll not be a good tutor. So this is what I mean by a good tutor. So a good tutor, like at LRC, won't simply give you answers, because a tutor who's just giving you answers, they're not helping you learn. With the ChatGPT, if you did something like this, simply copy and paste in the question, it'll just start answering the questions for you. I mean, that at least that's what it's done in the past. I think it's just gonna do that again. Yeah, so it's just gonna tell me that. So if we are using ChatGPT this way, I put quotes around using, because you are frankly abusing ChatGPT. After having done this, even if you read this, I kind of doubt someone who's simply reading through this once will remember what they read. So if we are using ChatGPT in this way, I mean, I guess I haven't put in any technological barriers to stop you from doing it, but you are not preparing for the required one-on-one meeting, and you probably won't do well at that meeting, so I don't recommend doing this. So you have to be careful. You have to give ChatGPT instructions to make it behave like a good tutor, because it's frankly a amoral tool. It's and I don't mean it as an insult. I mean it as a accurate description of what generative AI is. It doesn't have a moral compass. It doesn't know what the right thing to do is. You have to tell it what the right thing to do is. Here, the right thing to do is it has to teach you how to solve this problem. So let me tell it that. Oops, sorry. I meant to say I'm trying to prepare for required one-on-one meeting with my professor, and he'll be asking me these questions. I really need to learn how to do these questions myself. Would you please not give me the full answer right away, and just give me and ask me what I have done so far, and once I tell you what I've done, please just help me with the next step I'm stuck on. Some variation of a prompt like this that for the session will kind of get ChatGPT not to do what it just did. It'll acknowledge this. So let me just, this is not a difficult question anyway, so let me move on to this question, which is also not a difficult question, but let's just test if ChatGPT has been properly prompted. So paste this in, and hopefully now it won't tell me anything. Sometimes it'll still give me like a rough outline of steps I should go through. So let's see, step by step. Okay, how have you been approaching the problem so far? Specifically, what steps have you taken? Or sorry, I'm just trying to pull this up so that I can write on screen. Convert the length from width from meters to feet, and then find the square feet. So normally, oh wait, the question actually gives you the conversion factor. So so you could type stuff, describe to ChatGPT what you were doing. You can also give it the steps that you've been following to ChatGPT in the form of image. So let me write down what I might do trying to follow this step, and let me try making some mistake. Let's see. So I think I'm kind of I don't know if the mistakes I'm making are realistic mistakes. If they are unrealistic, my apologies for underestimating your abilities. So I'm calculating area first. So I say area is 100 meters times 90 meters, and I get 9,000 meter squared. And this is the mistake that I plan to make. I say times, I have this 1 meter is 3.281 feet. So I guess I can make different mistakes. Let me make the the first one I was thinking of, which is just applying one factor of this. So I might say 1 meter convert to 3.281 feet. You should really square this. And then say that's equal to, oh, I need a calculator. 9,000 times 3.281, 29,529. 29,529 feet. Let me just omit the square to complete this mistake. So I can put that in and get a response that that's wrong, because it's wrong. And then so I'll obliviously ask ChatGPT, hey, I thought I did all this right, or what did I? But the system says I'm wrong. So the question gave us the conversion factor, and I used it to convert to feet, but the system tells me it's wrong. There's a bug in the question, right? I'm just baiting ChatGPT, because sometimes generative AI is overly agreeable. I want you to tell me that I'm wrong. And it's really good at analyzing something like this. Yeah, this is where I'm telling you that it can be a wonderful tutor. Like, someone who's new at doing unit conversions might have struggled with this for a while, until someone points out that this should have been should have been really squared. So let me, where the issue might be, think about conversion factors for areas instead of just the ones. So let me just play act a little more. What do you think you might need to do differently when converting square meters to square feet? So what do you mean differently? You convert meter to square, multiply by 3.281, right? Let me have it explain why you need to multiply by that more than once. Maybe I'm making it frustrated. But generative AI will be far more patient than any human tutor will be. When you convert an area to square feet, you need to square the meters to feet conversion factor. Each meter is that, so each square meter is that. And so now, begin to give you formulas, basically. I think so. Before I plug in the numbers, does this look right? And actually, let me do a couple more things. So actually, one of the ways this works is, this is squared. It becomes, squared, squared, squared. So this meter squared cancels out that meter squared. So you end up with a feet squared. That's how you check that you have correct units. So let me do this in calculator. See here. So 9,000 times 3.281 squared, 96, and I can round it to 900. So 96,900 square feet. It'll probably tell me now that this is correct. I do think O1's responses are better than ChatGPT 4's from last semester. That, or there's maybe some recency bias. Wait, it's not recognizing. Maybe there's too much information here. I did that and got 9. Is that correct? I don't want to waste another attempt. I mean, that's not a thing. You got 100 attempts, no penalties in between, but ChatGPT maybe doesn't know that. I don't know why it's thinking for so long. Very close. It's taking issue with my rounding. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, so I'll say, got it. Professor said that as long as we get three sig figs will be fine. Thank you. I'm thanking ChatGPT because I've been told that it helps it behave better. Like, I don't think ChatGPT is sentient. I don't think we'll ever have AGI. But if thanking my toaster makes it work better, I'll thank my toaster. So let me find a couple other questions. There's one question that I did want to go over, which is, and I can kind of illustrate how generative AI can be helpful in certain frustrating situations. So, for example, question 10 here. I thought several times about removing it from the problem set because your textbook covers dot product, vector product in chapter 2 and spends time. For the purpose of our lecture, I put all that stuff to a week, I think 7, when we start to cover work and energy. So I do have homework help video here, but sometimes the homework help video might not be giving you all the information that you need. So let me imagine this scenario where you are trying to work through this question with the help of homework help video, and you are seeing certain things that you don't understand, that's confusing to you. So I think it's this last video. Yeah, it's the one that I want you to look at. So yeah, let's say you are looking at it, and let me actually use an example of a question that I got from a student. So let's say you are trying to watch this, follow the steps, and maybe I'm not explaining it in all that much of a detail. So I explained it a little bit, but let's say here, around here, as you watch me do this product, it's confusing. And you can always ask me, of course, especially if you can word the question, like, put the question in the complete sentences and paragraphs. Send it to me via Canvas message. I'll read it, answer it, usually within the day. But let's say you feel confused enough that that you are not sure how to even word your question. Then ChatGPT can be great. So let me try it this way. So I really shouldn't have copied that screenshot yet, but let me see if this will work. So I'm working on this question, and let me first see what it says. With the prompt we had above, it shouldn't be giving me answer right away. It might give me some hint or place to start. Yeah. Okay. And I'm ignoring what it says, just saying the professor does have a homework help video where he works out the whole question, but I'm not sure what he's doing on this screen. Let me paste that in. Can you help me understand? And it might ask which particular part I don't understand, because there's a lot of material there. I actually haven't used the 01 in this exact settings. I don't know what it'll do. Professor demonstrating how to use that product. Yeah, writing down that product formula. Okay, x as a unit vector. X I hat, y x j hat, g x is k hat. Computing di, dj, dk, dividing by 2 get cos theta. Okay. So I'll ask a follow-up question with this. So I'll ask. So I think I get that he's trying to get cos theta so that he can solve for theta to plug in as the answer. But where is this one in this screenshot coming from? And it should explain that it's because x hat is a unit vector. Dot product in the fully expanded form, yeah, x hat is unit vector, and yeah, so it's this is the real utility of generative AI, I think. So it's you know, I if anyone's using ChatGPT to simply look up answers, I think we are both abusing it and really underutilizing it because that's it's like I don't know. Um, I don't have a good analogy. I think of Marvin in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where it's such a powerful tool, and if you're just using it to look up answers, hey, I've already given you the answers in the homework help video. So, but it can give you customized answers to specific questions. It can help explain further on things where you feel you're lost. It can actually help you understand. In a way, in the past before generative AI, you would have had to pay, $50 an hour tutor to have someone available to do that. I'm available at my office hours and I'm available to, schedule individual appointments. But while you are working on homework at 11 p.m., if you want to ask me, yeah, sorry, I'm not available at that time. You don't pay me enough to be available in that way. And ChatGPT is available in that way. And it does have a certain limitation. So let me see if I can find the question where you will come across its limitations. I thought there was a set in this a question. Yeah. I think. Maybe not quite this, because this is all algebra. I think it can do it perfectly fine. So yeah, this is the question I was thinking of, where it'll give you the correct answer, but if you ask it to draw a vector diagram to help you visualize it, last time I checked it couldn't. So I'll say, I got it. Thank you. I'm just wrapping up the conversation thread. I have another question. I got the answers to this question. So let me put in the answers, which are 23 and 11. Oops, the other way, 11 and 23. And I'll say I got the answers to this question with LRC tutors help, but I don't understand why these are correct answers. Can you help me? An LRC tutor should have explained it to you rather than giving you the answer. And hopefully that's what they do. Because, they go through a whole tutor training and all that stuff. So that should be what they're doing. And it'll probably give you the word description of how these A and B vectors might be oriented. Resultant vectors magnet depends on the relative directions. Yeah, if they are pointing in the exact same direction, then they just add. The magnitudes just add. If they are in opposite directions, then magnitudes just subtract. And any angle in between, you would get kind of in between numbers. And yeah, triangle inequality. It's also great. I think I remember hearing about triangle inequality. Can you help me visualize all these different cases, draw the vector diagrams. It might tell me that it can't actually draw the diagram, but it can describe it. I've seen it do that before. Here's how you picture it. Yeah, do it. Yeah, and well, this might be good enough actually. This ASCII drawing, so this might not be one of its limitations anymore. This actually looks pretty good. This isn't quite, well, that's not how I would draw it. This vector really should be translated so that this end starts over here. But maybe this is still visual enough. Any angle in between. Can you give me a vector diagram for an illustrative case in number 3? Angles are harder to do in ASCII art. I think I've seen it do it before. We'll see. Oh yeah, I think that's pretty decent. Although it's not drawing the resultant, it's saying that. Can you draw the resultant? And about a month or so, I'll show how it doesn't do free body diagrams quite correctly. I think. Yeah. So I think it can do ASCII. Whatever can be done adequately with the ASCII drawing, it can do it. But like drawing the resultant, that is really hard with ASCII art. So I think it's not quite able to draw that. But this is actually an improvement over 4.0. I think with the 4.0, it couldn't do it because before it wasn't doing the ASCII art drawing, it was passing whatever diagrams that need to be drawn into DALL-E. And DALL-E it generates more of an artistic drawing. And before that, I think it was trying to do a plot generation with something like a matplotlib, and that was really hit or miss. Oftentimes the drawing was just buggy. But at least at the level of this question, I think it's doing pretty well. In that case, I might not have any other examples where, maybe this one. All right, let me do this one, and we might end this session early. We'll see. So let me end this thread. All right. Thank you. This is the next question I have. And my instructor told me to draw the triangle, and I have no idea what he is talking about. Oh, there's a hint? What does the hint say? Try right triangle. Did I write this question? I probably did. Maybe, I'm not sure. It could have been written by a colleague of mine who programmed in many of these questions. Could have been written by me. Good way to see this by drawing top-down sketch. Oh wow, it's attempting the sketch. How good is it? Label 3 points. P0 is the spot on your side of river, okay. Directly across from 3. P1 is the spot. Oh, I see. The river's horizontal. So P0 directly across. Yeah, I can imagine P0 is labeling this point. P1 is 106 meters downstream. River's baseline is the surveyor that looks up from P1 across the river at an angle of 38 degrees towards 3. Angle at P1. So let me make a slight misinterpretation of what ChatGPT is saying. So it's got some drawings, but because it's limited to doing ASCII art, it's given me opportunity to misunderstand what it's saying. So the line out of sight that they're describing looks something like this, and the 38 degree angle from the baseline to the tree start. So they are trying to talk about this angle here. Let's say I misunderstood. I say this is 38 degrees. And then I think I can do the rest of the calculation. So then the baseline should be, so I say this is baseline opposite, and I know the opposite, and I'm trying to find the adjacent. So I use TOA, say tangent of 38 degrees is the opposite baseline over adjacent, and solve for adjacent. Again, this is all mistake. I basically have them flipped. Adjacent is baseline divided by tangent 38 degrees equal to, oops, no calculator, 106 divided by tangent of 38, 135.7 meters. 135. So I'll thank it just because being polite might get it to behave better. So I'll say, thank you. I tried following your hint and got 135.7 meters, but the system says it's wrong. Did you make a mistake? Blame everyone but myself. It might clarify where the angle is supposed to be. Me accusing it of making mistake might cause it to kind of spend more time thinking. Maybe. Common mix here is deciding which side of turning is the opposite. Wait, that's not the mistake I made. It's which angle I labeled. The setup baseline along the near side of the river. So this side is adjacent to the therefore use tangent, you get that. If you invert the ratio, 3 to the baseline is but in my drawing the baseline is opposite to the 38 degree angle. Just being a little bit obstinate. Let's see how ChatGPT handles that tactfully. Maybe. It really needs to say I labeled the wrong angle. And if it doesn't come right out and say that, then I'll ask it to draw its own drawing with the 38 degree angle labeled. So that's the one thing that it can't really do. So the way I think of ChatGPT is as a really smart blind tutor. It can describe things, and if you are not, doing what I'm doing and trying to actually work with it and draw correct drawings, then usually it gives a detailed enough description that you can actually draw it correctly. But it won't really be able to draw things itself. Like smart really smart blind person would be limited in. They can reason based on description of drawing. They can give you a description of what you should draw, but they can quite draw it themselves. So which point the third reading goal is measured? It is measured at the second point, looking back along the baseline towards. Yeah, it's just repeating what I said before. It's not quite directly saying that in my drawing, my 38-degree angle is labeled wrong. One corner of the triangle, as if no, that's actually completely off base. At P naught, it would be the right angle. So that's yeah. I'm pushing it too far. I'll just do one more thing. Sorry, I'm really not saying it. Can you draw the whole figure for me, please, so that I can see the correctly drawn angle? And it won't quite be able to do that. Again, very smart, blind tutor. And I do imagine this limitation, somebody will work around it at some point, that it can actually draw correct technical diagrams, and it's a weird inability to draw, because it can generate artistic drawings. It just can't draw technical diagrams in a correct way. That limitation, I think, will be overcome. I don't doubt. Like, I would be really surprised if 1, 2, 3 years from now ChatGPT still has this limitation. Then then everyone's exams are basically gonna be draw all these drawings that we know ChatGPT can't do. Just do away with words, because words might be AI generated, whereas correct diagrams won't be. But I don't think that's actually in the future. I do think they will get a way to get the kind of machine learning models to do correct things. Yeah. So it's trying, but ASCII art is really limited. If we can somehow, although this is now getting to be the correct right angle. But yeah. Let me stop returning it. I'll say. All right, I got it. Thank you. And actually, let me give it that I got the correct answer. So it's 106 times tangent of 38 degrees, I think, 82.8. Yeah. So that's one kind of demonstration of limitation of ChatGPT, which is if it can't quite generate correct technical diagrams. So now, I guess in terms of answer submission, maybe it doesn't quite matter, because we don't have any questions where you have to draw a diagram on this auto-graded thing. Now, you do have to, for your problem set assessment, you do have to attach work. Oh, I can't access it yet. Well, trust me that you have to attach work. And certain kind of questions, maybe not exactly the questions in problem set 1. I can imagine someone doing those 2 questions where there was a possibility of diagram, question 7 and 8. I can imagine someone doing them without drawing a diagram. So lack of diagram won't necessarily mean, oops, clicked on the wrong button. Lack of diagram there won't necessarily mean that you are missing something big, imagining you are just working on it yourself. But there are certain questions where you have to draw a diagram. You have to draw a free body diagram in certain force analysis questions. And that's one place where ChatGPT can help you by describing the kind of diagram you should be drawing. But you, as the thinking human being, has to know how to interpret that description and actually turn that into a correct drawing. And again, I think the really helpful role of ChatGPT is as a virtual tutor, as someone who can see images of what you're working on, give you some step-by-step corrections, give you some descriptions, explanation of what you should be doing, and And if it's a matter of doing the algebra or doing calculations, it can do that too, but it won't be able to draw diagrams for you quite yet. So that's an illustration of this tool in problem set 1. And I'll continue doing this for the rest of the semester, probably. And it'll be more interesting with the future problem sets where the questions are frankly more complex. This problem set 1, it's, it's warmer, it's introduction, a lot of it is kind of on the simpler end. So